This is Lexi Wolfe. Hi. I'm doing a play at the moment called Trial by Ego by Anna Merle. It's new writing, fairly. It's a play about psychopaths. And I'm playing the only female in it. I'm a female in the grip of a psychopath in the story. And I guess I'm making this video right now because I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about my own experiences that I've kind of mentioned in articles and things before, but it's only recently really kind of struck me, I think in the past couple of months, just how very nearly I was giving my life over to somebody who, I don't believe he was a psychopath, but I'm pretty sure that he was a sociopath, or, definitely had narcissistic personality disorder. It's nice in that at this point in my life, I can look back and I'm now just about far enough away to appreciate that I had that, so that I need never go through it again. Because now I think I know a lot of the signs and I know my worth. And I think before I didn't really have any boundaries. Love was love. As far as I was concerned, I was happy to give love freely, and to whomever offered to look after me emotionally, physically, or, what have you. But that's what my sociopath picked up on when he first met me. I think he saw the seeds of this desperate need to love and to be loved. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think, as a personality trait. To love and to be able to be loved, I think, are the greatest personal achievements of any individual, man or woman. And however, I have realized that one does need boundaries for that, because people like the sociopath will slip in. The play itself has, like I say, brought up a couple of things. One of my fellow actors said the other day, which kind of hit home for us. We'd all realized that by process of just sort of talking about the subject matter, most of us in the rehearsal room are there with some kind of story. There's the writer who's been through a horrendous amount. There's the producer as well has a story. There's me with my story. There's another guy who was talking today about a really, as in properly crazy experience with his ex-girlfriend, and they are more common, I think, than we'd like to admit. It would be really convenient to say, oh, we came across one bad one. People aren't all like that. But the fact is that psychopaths and sociopaths prey off empaths. People who are feeling, giving, sensitive people. Because, and it's quite subconscious, I think, on these people's behalf, because they know they can manipulate us. And it's strange, because at this point I wouldn't have been able to do this play 6 months ago. Definitely would not have been in the right emotional place to do it. But I've had a wonderful streak of amazingly good luck, starting sort of from march all the way through to the current time. And I'm now very much able to kind of do this play and use it cathartically, kind of look back on it and say, this is what happened to me too. She's at this point, my character is, she's at this point, she's bargaining with this, she's making excuses for that. And that's what they make us do, which is sad. And the people who get taken in by psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissistic personality disorder people, they are not the people who deserve it. They are the last people who deserve it. It's just because we're easy targets. And it's devastating. They have the power to absolutely decimate someone's life. My life, literally this time a year ago, looked completely different to the way my life looked. I no longer think that is a bad thing. When the really quite violent breakup happened this time last year, I was devastated, and I thought, how can I live without this person in my life? I don't know how to function without them here. And they're my everything, they're my soulmate. Why are they now rejecting me? Why is this happening? And I turned it all back on myself. It was all my fault. And it was made to feel as well from his camp, as it were, that it was all my fault. I was a terrible person, and of course I deserved this. And maybe, just maybe, with a lot of time and good behavior, maybe he'd let me back into his life, but to not hold on to anything. But of course the truth was that 3 weeks after the relationship was over, there was someone else. I'd been replaced. And I just look back on those times, and I feel like an idiot for trying to get him back, which I did. I tried for a good 2 months, I think, properly to get him back, because I was still in that mode of no, this is my life, this is everything I planned, all this investment of time, all this investment of emotion and everything. I honestly thought I could fix him. But you can't fix people. They have to fix themselves, and you just have to stand there holding their hand and telling them you'll be there. And if that doesn't work, they're not going to get fixed. Cheery note. But the fact with the empath is that they can change. You can put up boundaries and have a healthy relationship with somebody else who isn't blocked off from their real deep emotions, who won't use you. And it's taken me a while, I think, to trust myself to the extent where I know what's best for me now. But I'm going to finish off this vlog saying something that I hope is really positive for anybody else, especially going through or recovering from a relationship with a person like that. I am grateful that I had that experience with that person, because from beginning to end, what happened? Love bombing. I was his everything. I was the only woman in his life. Finally, he'd met the one. It was great. 6 months later, we were engaged. Spent a fairly happy year, and he changed overnight. And a couple of weeks after that, I was talking to someone else. Fair enough, I shouldn't have been, even considering talking to anyone in anything approaching, romantically. But his reaction was so overboard, and he realized that he could no longer control me. and that was when the waters broke and it all fell apart. And I looked back on that time after I'd gotten some counselling, which I was going to have anyway randomly, and literally every step along the way I was going, oh yeah, and this happened, and that happened as well, and this is also what happened, to the extent where my counsellor was going, so you didn't really have that nice relationship with this person. But yeah, there's some stages which you should look up if you're interested in dealing with the sociopath, psychopath. It's like you denial at first, acceptance of blame, for everything is still your fault. Slowly you come to the realization that they are flawed inside somehow, and that's not your fault or your responsibility. And then you have the choice of either going back with this knowledge and trying to make it work, which I would never recommend to anyone, or you can move on and use that for your empowerment. So yeah, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. The thing that I want to say is I'm grateful for that experience, because when I met him, I will happily admit that I was subconsciously searching for a father figure, and he was exactly that. He filled that role perfectly, and he knew that was what I needed, I think, whether he knew it consciously or not. But because of how that turned out, I will never need a father figure again. I'm grateful that it happened, because now I know that I need to be patient in love, for all facets of it, and that love that is so intense from the very beginning will burn itself out the same way a bomb fuse burns itself out. I'm grateful because when I met him, and for a lot of our relationship, I was convinced that I was incapable of being a properly functioning adult human being. And I came out the other side, and I survived the humiliation and the isolation and the unfairness of it all. I survived that, and I instantly realized that there is nothing that I cannot do if I can get through that, because the pain and sorrow was so intense at one point I thought I was going to die. Now I feel nothing. I don't feel anything apart from just hints of gratitude, because now I know how strong I am. Now I know that I can do this by myself, that my life is purely my responsibility. Anybody who wants to join me for the ride, that's wonderful. There's a couple of rules, that it's groovy. Be a nice person, I'm sure we'll get on. I'm now not afraid to live my life alone and to do things alone, off my own initiative. The things that I've started since I broke up with that man, the things that have come to fruition, the things that I'm getting started, the optimism that I have in my life, I had to go through that relationship in order to get here. So I do have gratitude for it, even though it was terrible. That's my story. It's not everyone's story, of course. I hope that if this sounds like anything you've experienced or something you've experienced, that you take some comfort from it. So yeah, I'm in a play in Bournemouth in the middle of November. Come see. I hope to see you in the audience, and love yourself first. The most important thing is always to love you first. Because when you appreciate and love you, the people who do really love you know it. They feel it, and they turn up. Have a lovely day.